we've reached the culmination of our heroine or hero's journey right now at this time of year. We've grabbed the elixir and we have landed anew. So this is another Kundalini-Chrism yoga update, but today I'm not going to talk about the chakra system and those processes. I'm going to talk about the mythological aspect of the wheel of the year. I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of the story pattern, which is a personal myth. There's a story mathematic or human pattern that happens throughout the year. And once I start teaching this to you, hopefully you're going to be able to identify it in your own life. And it gives us great perspective to see ourselves in the third person, to see ourselves as a hero or heroine on a quest moving through the living world. The yogis say lila. When they talk about that, means divine play, meaning the great mother and this world that we live in is a divine play. It's a theater show. So I studied story. I have a master's in the hero's journey and I worked in screenplay writing for over a decade. And part of my gnosis and the illumination and the way the mother has brought me to teach is when she revealed to me that this story pattern that I was usually using to construct screenplays is actually innate in the seasons of the year. It's an innate pattern in nature. She is, above all else, the greatest storyteller, director, writer on the planet, right? She is the planet. The story is the planet. We know this about our personal lives. You have some kind of drama or personal experience in life that's full of all kinds of emotions, and you can't make that shit up, as they say in writing, you know? The best stories are drawn from personal experience because the things we go through, we're like, that was, what a story. What a story we are living, each of us living, our personal myths. It's loaded, our lives are loaded with story. So I'm going to talk to you from my personal story to help you see the pattern, okay? So last year, March, as we know, we work on this wheel of the year, right? The actual cross of Christ, the equinox points, and the solstice points. Last year, March, think about what story was starting for you. So in storytelling, if we're crafting a screenplay, we're trying to figure out the hero and the dramatic issue, the theme of the story. Just think about your theme. So for me, I'll give you an example. In January, February last year, Zionism came into my field. I started to research deeply about what really happened in World War II. I came into contact with the Talmud, and by March, I was so angry. And I was in Mexico at the time, and I went to a tobacco ceremony with a shaman, and I said, like, I need the grandfather medicine to get this anger out of me. I need peace. I need peace. I don't know how to sit with all of this. This is killing me. I need peace. That was my theme, peace. What was your theme in March last year? There was something you wanted, your internal desire. You needed something on an internal level as a living human, a character in your story, the hero of your story. You needed something. You needed something. Okay, and for me it was peace, the theme of my story. And the thing that was going to come up against my peace, so when we're constructing a screenplay, and you'll know this when you watch a film, your hero has a goal. Oh, I want peace, right? Yet they have a flaw and an internal wound that is going to push up against that goal. And it's going to be the thing that gets in the way of the goal and actually refines the goal. It's the thing that will sharpen the iron, right? So we don't watch a movie because the hero just achieves what they want really easily. No, they go on a journey, and the obstacles that come their way push up against the internal emotional wound and forces them to live experiences through encounters with people and life that help them to overcome the wound. So they say drama is conflict, right? There's no story without antagonism. So for me, my theme was peace and my wound was anger, right? So now this is March, this kicks off. Now I'm just going to kind of give you in brief. By June, solstice, I leave Mexico and I come back to South Africa, right? And I arrive back home in my family home with my parents, who I haven't seen for many years. I've been in India for years. And now I'm confronted with my father, whom I love dearly, but has been the antagonizing force of my life, right? He's got his own trauma and he now is lost in a lot of narcissistic ignorance and attributes, right? And it's been the deepest pain in my life and the deepest birthing in my life, right? So now I've got this anger about Zionism, fundamentalism, Yahweh, the world, the narcissistic entity on the planet, right? So I'm holding this anger that I'm trying to overcome. I arrive home in October and I'm now encountering that on a one-on-one interpersonal level with my own parent, right? And I'm trying to learn how to be peaceful and find a way with my parent where I'm not getting riled into anger. I don't want to be in reaction with this anymore, right? How do I find a way with my father? And it's a huge struggle. We have these archetypal characters and figures in storytelling and in our lives. So you had a theme, a goal, and you had a wound underneath. Now think about on your wheel, draw a wheel, right? Draw the cross, right? March, June, October, December. Now try and position the people that came into your life to antagonize your goal. So like I said, my interpersonal relationship with my father, you grew up he's fundamentalist, so he's quite Zionistic, black and white thinker, right? So I'm struggling with coping with the Talmud and Zionism, and now I'm experiencing it on a one-on-one level, on an interpersonal level with my dad, okay? And I'm having all sorts of personal struggles with that. I'm having like episodes with my dad, like outbursts, trying to cope with that, trying to, come into Zen and finding my way through it, right? And I kind of worked with the obstacle, the antagonizing force from June to October, right? June to October, September, equinox points, October, Palestine happens, right? So March, I'm now processing the Talmud and Zionism. I encounter it directly with my father in terms of interpersonal dynamics. Then Palestine starts getting genocided by Zionists. So that throws me, that's a huge antagonizing force coming to my goal of peace. And it's like, oh, we're working out that anger, we're pulling that gunk out. Now I'm gonna push even harder on you. So Palestine happens, and then from October into the underworld of myself. All of us, we've been through the underworld journey, and I know Palestine played out in different ways for different people and is still playing out. But that took me into such a chronic anger about the world, extractors, narcissists, Yahweh, the Old Testament God figure who is the source of all of this, because he's the first and primary narcissist, the demiurge. Watching people pretending it's not happening and dissociating from it. I know we all went through this. So and I shared a lot of videos in here because I wanted to be honest about my underworld journey. The anger was overwhelming, and I was certainly going to share that with you. And it's normal to be overwhelmed by emotions in something like witnessing Palestine. Okay. So now think about your own journey. What's your theme? What's the internal wound that's being pushed? And think about the players in your life, interpersonal relationships in your life. Who pushes that? Who is coming up to push that? And the antagonizing force to force the growth. The antagonizing force is a force required in nature to force growth. There is no hero or heroine's journey without the antagonizing force. So October through the underworld, come March, I'm finding my way through it. And by May to June, I come into the Tao with this thing. Finally, the grace, and having gone through the journey and through all the obstacles, interpersonal and all the obstacles, I come into a lived understanding and feeling of I can witness Palestine, Zios, fundamentalists. I can witness this and accept it. I can still speak about it and disagree with it, but it is not coming into my body and riling me into a place of anger where I'm just like in like full like vicious ravage, right? But I had to go through full vicious ravage to come into the middle way with the experience, right? So this is my elixir now. Oh, okay. I'm learning how to talk and speak to these things without it taking my peace from me. I have peace, and I've been given spaciousness to view dark and light in a way where it's not coming into my body, right? So this fulfillment has been reached by May, June. Now, so on your own wheel, what is your theme, your wound, and who were the players that pushed up against that in order to help you to grab hold of your elixir? Now, in March of this year, the new story starts, right? So we're finishing off. I come from March last year, go through my quest, and as I'm finishing off and grabbing the elixir of that journey, a new journey starts in March this year. So think about that for you. For me, it was the theme of connection. Now that I'm coming into peace, I'm asking and wanting, my internal want and desire. It's just emanating out of me. It's just written in my skin. It's not something I consciously thought of. It's just something I desire, which is connection, right? And I have wonderful online connection with my fellowships, but I was like, I want also physical, visceral, human connection and community. So this happened in March, right? This desire comes through. Now there's the desire, and the first scene that happens to me in my life, the first player that comes into that stage was a friend that actually love bombed me, right? And when I put a boundary down with this friend, they just ghosted me. So there it was, right? Here I am wanting connection, and the Leela, the play of life, came in with the player, another player, a story, a person came in and challenged that wound. And so now I know my goal is connection this year, and I must become aware of the wound of illusion, fantasy, right? Seeing the wood for the trees. So I wanted peace last year, and I needed to come into awareness of my anger. Now, my first challenge, right? The hero sets off on her quest this year. I want connection, like you're watching a movie. Well, scene comes in, and the challenge is, oh, here's connection, but it's an old form of how you used to connect when you were, you had narcissistic injury in your body and you were codependent. So I got bamboozled by a person, right? So I'm on my quest, I'm learning. And here I am going, okay, cool, now I want connection. And that first scene, so the story starts for me this year, March, as I'm ending my peace story, right? This scene, this first scene this year is the actual third act, climax, or antagonizing scene that helped me to grab hold of peace. So it's the antagonization of my connection scene. Although it was difficult and there is emotion involved in it, it hurts, it's still the thing that helped me to grab hold of peace and to really understand where my anger is coming from narcissistic betrayal. And it brought me even deeper into the middle way. So I grab hold of peace as my elixir, and I'm very aware of the fact, like, okay, now I'm on my connection story, and I must be aware of illusion and false connection and extractive connection. I can only connect and know in my body that I'm connecting with people that don't want to extract from me. So I hope this has been helpful. Please comment below what your theme and wound has been, interpersonal dynamics. And I know when we live these stories, it feels very personal because it's our lives, right? It's emotional. Story is emotional. But it's nice to take perspective and talk about yourself in the third person like a character, and to see the people in your life as characters, and to start actually seeing yourself as somebody on a stage. And that makes us conscious players in the living myth. Some of us aren't conscious in our living myth. We're just going along with it and being swept by it. But when you know what the pattern is, you can orient yourself inside it. So I'd love to hear from you about your story. Sending love.